Hi all, welcome to Blue Heron Hill. I'm Sue, and this is the time of year for cleaning out my gardens. And I love discovering little volunteer plants, maybe not so little, in my garden that have been hiding beneath different plants. So let's go around and I want to show you some of the things that I found, some of the things that I've missed, some of the things that are popping up on their own. So let me know, tell me what you've found as a surprise in your garden that was never planted where it's showing up. Come on, let's go, I'll show you what I found. Every year, a garden surprise always happens in my compost pile. Here's a squash. This is a honey nut squash again. I think I have one there, and I have another one someplace. There's another one right in there. And those are nice size. But I always get something that comes out of my compost pile. This is not such a late season garden surprise. A little seedling of lettuce. I usually plant lettuce in here quite often. And it is no surprise to me that there isn't one or two that have popped up all season long. If you can see here, all of this, these little new germinating seedlings, that's a cover crop I'm growing to add some enrichment to the garden this fall. It'll die off when we have a frost, but it will add a lot of beneficial nutrition to the soil. Here is another volunteer carrot that have come up. I usually have a difficult time growing carrots, but this one decided that this was the time of year that it was going to pop up right amongst my lettuces. Another garden surprise, although to me it's not a surprise. About 4 years ago, I planted cosmos over here, and every single year I get a return. There's always cosmos seeds to germinate in my garden. And there was one right here too, a larger one. Now this is my bed that I'm going to prepare for garlic planting. And as I always find volunteers, this had been planted with potatoes. And this is a potato plant. Obviously there was a potato that we neglected to pull up. Also, I have the migrating raspberries that I'm going to have to dig out of this bed because I have raspberries right on that side. And yet another volunteer, which even has a tiny squash on it here and another one here. Never gonna make it. These guys, volunteers to me, always do better than what I plant in the ground. They are just so strong. If you ever have a volunteer, save those seeds. Their genetics have got to be super strong. Another find amidst the raspberries is this tomato. Look at this tomato plant. No flowers, but it is growing right here in this bed. I had tomatoes last year, so my guess this is probably a cherry tomato because that's what I had right over here. Well, my raspberry, look at those yummy raspberries. My raspberry patch is hiding many little gems. Here is another squash, volunteer, that's growing. Lots of little growth at the tips. Another one right there. This one, I'm hoping I can let that go. Although I could probably pick it young like this and eat it as a yellow squash. I think this might be a variety of a spaghetti squash, because my spaghetti squash was planted in the bed right next to these canes. The season is winding down in the vineyard also. We picked the grapes and have started making our wine about 4 weeks ago. But as I come out today, we still have another cluster. And this is quite a beauty. This cluster started with a late flowering, and the pollinators pollinated it, and the grapes got a little bit of a late start. But maybe they will ripen before the frost hits. And these are good enough to eat. Even though they're wine grapes, they're still good enough to eat as a table grape. That's another sweet surprise in the garden. This is one of my sunflowers. This is actually a volunteer. I didn't plant it. This is a gigantus variety, mammoth head. It is, and you can, I have to weigh that one. Now these are all, these little, there's the seeds, the white seeds with the gray striping, and you know they're starting to get ripe is when they're, the striping starts to appear. But these are really all the sunflowers. This whole head is a giant mass of flowers. And as these flowers, at the base of the flower is the ovary that swells into the seed. So those will just chuff off. So you can tell when it's ready to harvest. Of course, the sunflower, the head droops over because of the weight. And also it helps because the rain will drip off and won't collect into these crevices between the seeds. The head itself starts yellowing a little bit here. You lose the petals, you lose the petals here that give you that big showy sunflower look. And so I'm going to cut this one down, and maybe we'll weigh it and see how much it weighs. I have one more large sunflower. There's strawberry eating some goldenrod, the seeds of the goldenrod. And that's Margie, my barred rock. And that's Shortcake, who's Strawberry's sister, and they always are together. And Ruby, my Rhode Island Red. And Queenie. And Charlotte. And Emmy. And Minty. And Olive. And March. And April. And Chickpea. Okay. And here's Frau. Pretty girl. Okay, here is another one of those mammoth heads. And this was, this was a volunteer also. Quite stunning. Another very large head. This isn't quite as far along as the other one. There's not a lot of gray striping yet, but it's getting there. But it too is very tall. It was probably 8-9 feet minimum. So I love just making it shower. And there they are at my feet, eating them all up. Thanks for coming along with me on this video. Just a cute little one to discover the sweet surprises that your garden still has in store for you at the end of the season. Here we are, bare ground, yet I'm still getting treats from this garden. Totally amazes me. Tell me what you're finding in your garden that's a total surprise. So if you haven't already, please subscribe. Share it with anyone that you think might like this content. Give me a thumbs up, and until the next time that we can go digging in the dirt, happy gardening. Bye.